Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How are you all doing today? This is the conversation I had with one of the moms yesterday. Okay. I don't want to be the controlling mom, the mom whose voice makes her kids flinch, the mom who's always rushing, always correcting, always nagging, and just one breath away from snapping. And I don't want to be disconnected with my kids. Okay. So that guilt creeps in when you know they are trying to avoid you. Okay. And she wanted a way to repair this relationship and build that trust and f- make it safe for her kids again. So let's talk about this topic today. I don't want my kids to be scared of me, right? So if you are the controlling kind of mom and you want everything the way you planned, or you are nagging them 24/7, or you feel that you're nagging them, and the kids are kind of avoiding you and are afraid to talk to you, let's get into it. So, children are wired to seek safety with their caregivers, right? Their parents are the place where they should feel safe. Their home should be feel safe for them. And their brains are literally built to use parents as their emotional home base, right? But when we parents get angry or have unpredictable behavior, or even threaten our kids. If you don't do your homework, this and this is going to happen, or you're going to get time out, or whatever that is. The child's nervous system detects danger, okay? And it kicks into the flight, fight, freeze mode, okay? And if this becomes a pattern in their homes, kids start associating the parent's presence or mood with threat rather than safety. Okay. So even if we are doing this out of love and we truly love them and we want the best for them, this controlling, this anger, this frustration, um, you know, that shifts things in their brain for them. Okay. And it treats it like a threat. So, a mom was sharing with me how her 12-year-old would avoid her. When she'd come home from school, if she would be in the kitchen cooking, she'd call her in, saying, "How was your day?" And conversation, try to have a conversation with her. But she started noticing that wherever she went, when she tried to spend some time with her, her child would ignore her. Okay? Or make a point to not have that conversation. So we started learning about what it was that she was doing when she was calling her kid in to talk to her. Um, so she started noticing a pattern, and she realized that whenever get her into her child's room, she'd see that there was a mess, and she'd start telling her, your room is always a mess, start nagging her, start controlling her, telling her all the things that she needs to be doing to get ahead in life, and how she was upset with her. Okay. So that child started feeling afraid of having that conversation, and she knew that mom would be yelling at me if she'd come in the kitchen, if she see a mess, and then she would start nagging her about that as well. So that kind of strained the relationship, okay, and that distanced the relationship. And every time her daughter would see her, she would find something or another to kind of avoid her. So we got into it, and we tried to really rebuild that connection with her again. So let's talk about the emotional and mental impact that this has on our kids first. Okay. So, first, they can really emotionally shut down. Like this daughter, she wanted to avoid her mom. Okay. And she was afraid that she'd have to hear her yelling at her again or nagging her about something or another. Okay. So, kids learn to suppress their true feelings. Okay, even if when they're very young, they can start doing this. So it could be fear, sadness, even joy that they don't want to share. Because showing this kind of emotion seems risky to them because they don't know how you're going to react. All right. Um, then there's hypervigilance. So they could become really highly alert to the tiny shifts in your tone or your facial expressions, and they feel like they're always walking on eggshells. Okay, um, and this spikes their anxiety and stress. Can you imagine that kid um, feeling highly stressed whenever they're around you? Um, so a mom was talking to me about how her child's relationship with the dad was really happy, really joyful, and she was cheerful around him. But whenever she was around the child, she just felt that it was that disconnect, and it felt difficult to communicate with her son. Okay, so this could be the situation when we're with them all day long and we spend more time with them. We want the best for them, but the controlling becomes habitual, and the nagging and the pressurizing, um, it creates that disconnect with our kids. Another thing that we see a lot I see a lot with parents is that the kids start having this kind of low self-esteem and low self worth. So they start internalizing the blame. They start internalizing blame on themselves and feeling that, oh, I made mom or dad upset or mad. Okay, when they're very young, they start watching this. Okay, so kids may begin to think something is wrong with them, not just the situation, but they start thinking that it was their fault for getting you upset. Okay, and this really affects their self-worth and self-esteem. Another issue, another impact that can have on our kids is that they have poor emotional regulation, because children learn their coping skills from us as parents. Our kids often act out. Okay, either they withdraw, they shut down, or they become like perfectionists who start hiding their mistakes. They don't come to tell you what's happening in their world, in their life, because they're afraid of an outburst. Okay? Let me know if you are going through this. You can definitely connect with me on my Instagram. We can have a chat and see what is going on behind the scenes. Okay, now let's talk about the long term impact of the relationship in the future, if this is what it's looking like for you in your home. All right. So it's strained communication, right? As we talked about how kids who fear their parents may stop confiding in them. Okay. They may not be coming to you for their problems anymore, because you're ready to either just give advice or start yelling at them or getting upset with them um, altogether. Okay. Especially when they get a little older. Okay. So this starts leading to secrecy, resentment, or even distancing from you. Right. And that is like the worst feeling as a mom, right? You really want to keep that connection going. And you want them to come to you for for all their problems, but here's the thing, here's the catch. If you're a mom who feels that, oh, they should come to me and I should have all the solutions and I should have all the answers to their problems, that is another issue. They just sometimes don't want to come for an answer. They don't want a solution. They just want you to hear them, to listen to them, okay, and understand them, right? Um, Another impact could be that the kids risk becoming parents themselves who struggle to provide emotional safety themselves. Okay, if they see that you are not able to regulate your emotions and you're reactive, you get angry, you get upset, you get frustrated and stressed out, they will react the same way in their future with their kids, their family, their loved ones. So this is why this work is so important, ladies. Okay? So how to repair the pattern right now from today. Okay? If you found me, um, I'm so glad you're here and I'm so glad you're wanting to work on this. Okay? So this takes a lot of consistency, right? Continuously understanding what is going on in the relationship. Okay? First, you have to recognize if this is the situation in your home with your kids. Okay? You want to be able to be apologetic. Okay? You want to explain to them what it is that's going on in the background and why you got frustrated, why you got angry, why you yelled at them. Okay? And allow them to invite their feelings, allow them to share their feelings openly with you. Okay? So this helps retrain their nervous system to expect care after the chaos, right? Okay, maybe you got upset hearing that they had a fight in school and they punched somebody, for example. Okay? But you want them to be able to come and tell you that. That's really important. So they learn to share their frustrations and feelings with you. That's really, really important. If you are open and you are being like a human being and you're sharing your frustrations openly, they learn to share their own as well. Okay? Model that emotional regulation. Show them that adults handle how adults handle their big feelings safely. Okay? So the breathing exercise we talked about, the pausing, the speaking gently, the calming down together. Let them see you write in a diary when you're frustrated, when you're angry, when someone hurt you. Okay? Let them know what you're doing. Teach them how to do it for themselves. Okay? Or let them know that, okay, I'm really overwhelmed right now. I'm just going to go for a walk. Okay? Show them how it can be done, how to regulate their emotions. Share with them your problems on their level. If they're younger, you can just let them know maybe something happened at the grocery store. Someone upset you at work, or someone spoke to you really rudely. Okay, how you felt about that. And create safe rituals. Okay, small daily anchors of connection that helps rebuild the trust that you've lost with your kid. Okay, something simple like spending individual time with each child, just 10 minutes. Alone, undivided attention. That means you're not sitting down doing homework with them, but just having real conversation without you being on your phone, without you doing any work. Okay, that really 10 minutes a day, undivided attention, that goes a long way to creating that bond, creating that trust, creating that connection again with them. Okay? Um, how to do better going forward. Okay? Educate yourself. Learn about their emotional development. Okay? There's different stages, right? When they're young, they're different. They have emotional development. They develop differently. When they grow up as teenagers, a lot of stuff are going on. Start learning about that too. What are their triggers? What's going on behind the scenes? So you understand what your child is experiencing and why. Okay? So that's a little bit of child psychology. And then what is really, really important is prioritize self regulation. That's what I teach, and that's what we're going through. Understanding ourselves as a mom, okay, and our ability to understand our emotions first in order to regulate our emotions first. Then we understand our kids, okay? So our ability to pause quicker, to calm down, and respond with empathy and not reactivity, right? And it takes consistency, right? They should never be afraid to come to us to talk to, okay? And if you're seeking more support and you want hands on, um, more tools and strategies, I definitely encourage you to check out my workshop, my parenting workshop. And I've got a I've put a bundle of videos for you to help with the communication, to help understand yourself better and your kids better. And if you're seeking for a one on one kind of consultation, that kind of support, connect with me on Instagram, the Sneem K Safi, or just message me below and let's connect. Inshallah, this was helpful for you, and I will see you in the next one.